Hi everyone, this is AJ. Welcome back to the channel. I'm sort of doing a bit of a Robocop weekend here. I've got 4 days of Robocop related content. So tomorrow I'm going to be taking a look at my Robocop Blu-ray collection, DVD collection. Sunday I've got an interesting video about why a Robocop sequel has never worked, that will be coming up. And on Monday I have a ranking of the 4 live action Robocop movies. Don't know why I said live action, they're all live action anyway. There's an animated film, there's an animated cartoon series, but there you go. So today I'm doing another AJ's Comic Book Corner, and I'm going to take a look at a little look down memory lane, for me anyway, at the Robocop comic book series. Now, as comics go, Robocop has had comic series from different companies from back when the film came out to recently. So when the comic books first came about, the first thing that was done was a Robocop movie adaptation. Now, an adaptation comic book is exactly what it says it is. It's a comic book based on the story of the film. Now, back in the day, we're going back to the 80s, 90s, this sort of thing. When a film was released in the cinema, it took maybe about 3 years or so before it actually reached your home video systems where you could go out and buy it on VHS. Obviously you had the cinema window, and then about a year later it hit rental, where you could go and rent the VHS from like Blockbuster or whoever, and you could then go and purchase it a couple of years after that. So it was usually about a 3-year wait for a film before you could own it yourself. So to offset that time scale, you had different things. You had a lot of making of books, which I know you can get some today. Comic companies bought the rights so they could do a movie adaptation comic. So after you've seen the film, you can sort of relive the film in this other format. And then you had trading card companies that done, you know, trading card sets for the films, and these are sort of things that don't exist now. It's not very often you get a movie adaptation comic book now. I mean, you think of all the Marvel films that they're doing. Marvel doesn't produce comic book adaptations anymore for these films. It's pointless, because your window from theatrical to being able to watch it indoors is slim. I mean, you think we've got Shang-Chi coming now this weekend. It's literally live now. And that was only in cinema a stone's throw away. So it kind of made the comic book adaptations kind of obsolete. But anyway, let's take a look. So as a comic book, the first time I was introduced to Robocop here in the UK, this was when I was actually reading these British Punisher comics. This is issue 1 of the UK's Punisher. And inside, you know, it's a large comic, obviously. Mike Zeck art on the cover. And inside you had a split of reprints of the Circle of Blood storyline of the Punisher, which is his first miniseries, solo miniseries. And then at the back you had Robocop, which was originally done in a black and white format, like so. Yeah, we'll take a closer look in a minute. So that was issue 1, and then that spilled into issue 2 of the Punisher, and in issue 3 of the Punisher, where Robocop actually got a cover. And I think issue 3 did actually conclude the storyline for Robocop. So yeah, it was fantastic. Nice Punisher poster in there as well. Yeah, so that's how I first came about reading the movie adaptation for Robocop. Obviously I didn't see it in the cinema, I'd have been way too young, so that was my first introduction to the character. Marvel then went on to create a ongoing series of Robocop, which I'll share in a minute. We'll have a look at the covers and some of the interior art, but also they done movie adaptation, prestige format movie adaptation release, where they actually done it in colour. I do think that I prefer the black and white I think it's more effective for the style of film. But again, we'll have a look at that. We'll have a closer look at that. And also, when Robocop 2 came out, they'd done a movie adaptation, again a prestige format movie adaptation for that, just to show the sort of size variation. You're looking at that as US standard comic size, UK would do that. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's have a quick look at these covers, what the art's like, and all that sort of a thing. Now, this series did run for 23 issues, the ongoing Robocop series. I seem to have stopped with issue 17. I didn't see it out to the end. But nostalgia me may go and hunt down those remaining 5 issues, and why not complete the set? But yeah, so let's take a quick look. So first up here we do have issue number 1. This is the very first ongoing Robocop comic book from Marvel. It ran, like I said, it ran for 23 issues. I only went up to issue 17. But there you go. So, as you can see, I mean, I remember probably buying this off the shelf, to be honest with you. This was an era of comic books where I was, you know, even though I read today still, I was proper into comic books around this era. And as you can see, going through this, there's a lot of wording. Comic books nowadays don't have, they're not so talky. Like, you can get through this comic book here, will take 15-20 minutes to read probably, but a standard comic book now you probably get through in about 5 minutes, because it's all visual and not very much storytelling in the sense of words, which is a shame. It really is. But anyway, so yeah, as you can see, the art style's pretty nice in there. It's not bad. It's kept with that consistency all the way through. I'm not saying it's the same artist, but you know. So then we have issue 2 there, and issue 3. Issue 4, nicely coloured. I like that colour. Nice image. OCP wants you. 6, 7 with these dinosaurs, but these dinosaurs in the context of the story were, that was an advert then, were robotic, as I recall it. Yeah, kind of like a Jurassic Park style sort of, you know. 8, issue 9, which there's an issue of a comic book, a UK comic book it was, called Death's Head. Interesting character, I'll go into that another time. It's very similar to a cover of that, where you had Death's Head facing off against someone. Yeah. But there you go, that's a fabulous image. Like I said, with the art, we're about halfway through the series here, and the art remained relatively consistent. You know, it wasn't bad. You do find as comic books go on and the sales dwindle, they can tend to get a lesser and lesser artist drawing. 12, 13, issue 14, look, 50 years of Captain America there. 15, 16, and my final issue, issue 17. Just an aside, going back to 50 years of Captain America. Interesting, the other day I picked up this book, Captain America, the first 80 years. Yeah, that's just, it shows you how old this comic book actually is, 30 years. Yeah, so for a comic that's 30 years old, still looking pretty damn good. So yeah, so that just goes to show how old, that 30-year business between this and that book that I've got, just goes to show how old Robocop actually is, you know. Yeah, like I said, first 80 years of Captain America 30-year anniversary, 1941 to 1991. Yeah, and now we're in 2021. Superb. But yeah, the other thing I like about these comics, and you know, if you're a comic collector, you know, and even books have the same. They have a very distinct smell. I can't open up an old comic book without having a smell of the paper. But as you can see, this is still in very good condition. Spinal damage is to a minimum. I do look after all my comic books. But yeah, so Robocop was a comic book. Fabulous, a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I didn't stick to the end. That's kind of what happened back then with a lot of stuff. You go off and you stop. Obviously, I didn't know it'd only run for another 5 issues. Had I known that, I'd have probably seen it out to the end at the time. But there you go. That wasn't the end of Robocop in comic book. You had Dark Horse take over it. And they'd done a Terminator versus Robocop comic book. Avatar Comics took over it. Dynamite Comics has done for a while, done some Robocop comics. And Boom Studios. So the license has been about among loads of different comic companies producing Robocop comics to differing degrees of success. Does it really work as a comic book? Probably not. But the nostalgia factor for these ones, I do have some of the other series as well, but nostalgia factor for these ones, fantastic, and yeah. So anyway, so this is AJ, thanks for watching, sticking with me. I hope that you do look at my other Robocop content that's coming up over the next couple of days. Yeah, 4 days of Robocop. There we go. This is AJ, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, or goodbye.